We have the Specimen paper for AQA Functional Skills Level 2. It is the non-calculator one. That means that you're not allowed to use a calculator, paper 1, and you have 30 minutes to complete this paper. Remember, you must use a black pen. I'm using a black pen to do this. So let's have a go. Question 1 asks, what is 3/5 as a decimal? And they give you various options and you must circle it. And this is where you remember that 3/5 can be rewritten as an equivalent fraction. Let's double it to get 6 out of 10. And dividing 6 by 10, there's 1 0, so we're going to divide by 1 0, and we end up with 0.6. You could also do a division if you prefer, but at this point that would take a bit longer. The second question says work out 7 take away 2.835, and this is remembering that you're going to start with 7 and you're going to take 2.835 away from it. 7 goes first because 7 was first, and a 2.835 goes second. Now we align the units, which means that in this case there were no decimal places for the 7, so I'm just adding it, or including them in. Okay, so I want to do 0 take away 5. I can't do that, so I must borrow, but I can't borrow from here, can't borrow from there, so I must borrow all the way back from here. So I'm left with a 6. That means now I have 10, but I'm going to borrow from here, which leaves me with a 9, 10, so I'm going to borrow again, 9, 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 3 is 6. 9 take away 8 is 1. Decimal, decimal, decimal point. 6 take away 2 is 4. Let's move on to question number 3. Question number 3 gives us a triangle. You can tell it's a isosceles triangle because you have two angles which are the same. They've been labelled as 36, and asking us to find what is x. Now this is a case where you need to remember that inside a triangle, when you add all of the angles together, the total angles in a triangle add up to 180. But what we're going to do is we're going to take away a 36, and we're going to take a 36 away from this 180 to see what's left over. So you can do minus 36 and minus 36, or you could take away 36 plus 36. So if you're not happy doing that in your head, or you might make a mistake, just do it on the side. 6 plus 6 is 12, carry 1. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 72, so we're taking 72 away. And that is going to be our answer. Now it's up to you how you work with numbers. You could see that this is 80, take away 72 would leave us with 8, and then we have 100, so the answer here would be 108. If you're not comfortable doing that, you might want to set out a subtraction. It's some other space, so you might do 180, take away 72, and here you have 0, take away 2, so you must borrow because you can't do that, so you're going to borrow from here, so you end up with a 7. That's a 10. 10 take away 2 is 8. 7 take away 7 is nothing. 1 take away nothing is 1, and you get the same answer as I did over here. So the answer here is 108 degrees. Excellent. Let's look at question number 4. And question number 4 is a grid. Let me bring it down so you can see it. And the grid says that we're going to plot on this grid the point minus 3, 2. And this is a case of remembering that the first number is an x, and the second number tells you the y. Okay? So when you look at that, you have the x-axis and you have the y-axis. So we're looking for minus 3 on the x-axis. So on the x-axis, here we are, there's minus 3. And we're looking for 2 on the y-axis, and 2 on the y-axis is here. We want the point where they cross, okay, and they cross here. So that's the point, and if you mark it, make sure it's nice and visible, and you'd get your mark for that. Okay. Question 5 is an order of operation question, and this is where you must remember you do your brackets first, then you do your powers. After your powers, you do your multiplication and division, and at the very end you do your addition and your subtraction. So when you look at these numbers and you see what you have, you notice that we have a power a multiplication and a subtraction. So we're going to do our powers first. So when we calculate that one, that is 3 times 3, and the answer for that would be 9. Let's write the remainder of this calculation. So we had a 25 in front. It's important that you keep the order correct. Then we had take away 2 times 9. Subtraction multiplication, so we're going to do a multiplication first. So when you work out that multiplication there, you end up with the answer of 18. 2 lots of 9 is 18. And so we're going to do 25 take away 18. And then once again, up to you if you're going to count up, or you can do it in your head, but you end up with the answer 7. Brilliant. Worth 2 marks, so it's good to show all your steps for that one. We're moving on to question number 6, and question number 6 is a question to do with scatter graphs, and they present to us 4 scatter graphs labelled A, B, C and D. A, B, C and D. And in the first one you notice all the crosses are scattered everywhere, there's no pattern to it. In graph B the crosses are kind of going up. In graph C the crosses are going down, and in part B, or graph number B, once again they're going up. And this question is asking us which of the diagrams show a negative correlation. Negative correlation means it's going down, and as we said, the one that's going down is C. So we would circle that one. Brilliant. So we're now done question 6, which means we're moving on to question 7. And question 7 is one of those questions that will be a bit longer because we've moved on to now working on section B. Okay. Now this information here is about making fudge. We bring it back down so you can see, making fudge for a market stall, and here we have the ingredients to make this fudge. Okay, so they give us all the ingredients, and if you keep on reading, it also tells you that all these ingredients are enough for 4 boxes. So if you have all the ingredients, that's enough for 4 boxes. But Lisa wants to make enough for 48 boxes. So she would actually want to make 48 boxes. And so the question is, how many of these do you need? Let me bring it down so you can see. How many of these do you need to make 48? So you have to think, how can you get 48? So 4 boxes times something will give us 48. If you spot, that's a 4 and that's a 4. So 4 times 1 gives me that 4, and 4 to make an 8 will be times 2. So 4 times 12 will give us 48. So that's the number of boxes we want, which means we need 12 of all of these, 12 of these, 12 of these, 12 of these, 12 and 12 of those. But if we continue reading a bit more, we find out that they're actually interested only in sugar, which means that when I come to these lists here, I can actually ignore the butter, the milk, the other milk and the flavorings, and just concentrate on the sugar. Okay, now to have enough for 48 boxes, if I need 12 of this, I also need 12 of that. So I'm also going to have to multiply by 12 to find out how much sugar we want. So we can come down here and write our calculation out. Sorry, it's not very focused. And we're going to do 500 grams times 12, and we're going to get our answer in grams. Okay, and this is where you need to have some method of doing your multiplication. So I'm going to say 5 times 2 is 10, carry 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the one I carry is 6, and then I also add those 2 zeros. But there's many ways of doing multiplication. Some people use grids, some people use other methods, but basically that is the answer. 6,000 grams of sugar is what we would need to make 48 boxes. However, we notice that she already has some sugar, so she doesn't need to get all of this because she already has some. But you also notice that's in kilograms and in kilograms. So you have a choice. You can work in kilograms or in grams, but you must change to have them all the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change them to grams by multiplying by 1,000. I will multiply that by 1,000, I end up with 1,400 grams. And when I multiply that kilogram times 1,000, I'll end up with 1,000 grams. So in other words, she already has 1,400 grams. So we are being asked how many bags of sugar she should go and buy. Well, let's find out how much she needs to go and get. So she currently has 6,000 grams. Sorry, that's what she needs, and she needs 600,000 grams, but she already has 1,400. 0 take away 0 is 0, 0 take away 0 is 0, 0 take away 4, so we're going to have to borrow. 10 take away 4 is 6, 5 take away 1 is 4. So this is how many grams of sugar she needs to go and buy and get. But she can't just go and buy that because they are sold in 1 kilogram bags. So we're going to have to work out how many bags she needs, or in other words, they're sold in bags of 1,000 grams. So if she buys 1, 2, 3, 4 bags, she'd only have 4,000 grams, and that wouldn't be enough. So she's actually going to need 5 bags of sugar. Now it doesn't matter the method you do because there's other methods, but at the end you should end up with 5 bags of sugar, which is what she needs to go and buy. Excellent, so that's part A. So we're now going to move to part B, and part B is continuing with the idea of fudge, and they tell us that she makes or she sells 3 flavors: strawberry, vanilla and mint. She looks at the number of boxes of each flavor that she sold in the last few weeks. So in the last few weeks she sold 60 of strawberry, 140 of vanilla and 40 of mint. And this week she makes 48 boxes. Well, we know that because the previous calculation was all about doing that. Using the data above, how many boxes of each flavor should she make? And you need to show your workings because there's 4 marks, and so we need to show how we get there. And at the very end we're going to show how many of each of these she should make. So what information do we know? Well, we know she had strawberry, we know she had vanilla, and we know she had mint. And in the past she sold 60 of strawberry, 140 of vanilla and 40 of mint. Now I'm going to do it as a ratio. You don't have to, but this is one method that I find is quite useful. It's also a non-calculator method, so I need non-calculator paper, so I need a method that makes my life easier. So at the moment, if I added those together, I'd get far more than the 48 that we want. So I'm going to reduce or simplify my ratio. Now you notice it all ends in zeros, so what I could do is divide all of those numbers by 10, and that end up simplifying to a 6, a 14 and a 4. But if I added all those together, I'd get 14 plus 6 is 20 plus another 4, I'd get 24 boxes, which is useful because it's better than having all those boxes, but that's not how many I wanted. I wanted 48, or she wants 48. But if you look carefully, 48, 24, well actually if I double that 24, I'll get what I want. So if I'm doubling that, I'll need to double all of these numbers. So I'm going to double. If I double 6, I get 12. If I double 14, I'll get 28. And if I double 4, I'll get 8. Okay? And when we add all those together, we're going to get 12 plus 8 is 20, plus another 20 is 40, and 8, 48 boxes, just as we wanted. So just a reminder, what we did here was divide by 10, and then what we did here was we times by 2 to get to this one. Okay, so now we know how many of each. Strawberry, we need 12 boxes. Vanilla, we need 28 boxes. And mint, we need 8 boxes. Brilliant, we're 4 marks. So we're now down to the last question, and last question was 7C. And 7C is all about Lisa is going to the market. The market is 50 miles away. The market starts at 7 a.m. She needs to arrive at least half an hour before the market, and that's probably to set up and get things all ready before things start. She leaves her home at 7:10 a.m. and this is what she says. She says, if I drive at an average speed of 40 miles an hour, in other words, every hour she will travel 40 miles, I will get there in time. Is she correct? You must show your workings. Now, this is one of the questions which has many different ways of doing it. And so if you have a way that you're confident doing, just stick to that manner of doing it. I will show you one and then you can see if it suits you or not. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say, or we're going to find out how much time she has for this journey. Okay, and she's starting off at 7:10, but she wants to get there not at 9, sorry, let me bring it down so you can see, not at 9, but half an hour before. So if we're going to be half an hour before 9, it means she's going to arrive at 8:30. So the question is, how much time do we have here? So to get to 8 o'clock, we have 50 minutes, because 10 plus another 50 would give us an hour, and we're now on to 8 o'clock. And between 8 and 8:30, we'd have 30 minutes. So it means the journey, she needs to do this journey in 50, 60, 70, 80 within 80 minutes. Okay? So in other words, she has 80 minutes to do this journey. Or if you prefer to think of it this way, the journey would be in 1 hour. So you take 60 away from that, and 20 minutes. So that's how long the journey. If she takes longer than that, she's not going to arrive in time. So now we're going to find out if she can do it. Okay? So let's think about the speed. Okay? Let's think about the speed that she's traveling at. And the speed they tell us is she's going at 40 miles per hour. That means that in 1 hour she'll travel 40 minutes, which is brilliant because here we know she has 1 hour. So in 1 hour we know she will travel 40 miles. Okay, but we have another 20 minutes. So you have an option to find out how far she would travel in 20 minutes. Or the other thing we can spot is that if we take 40, okay, and that's in an hour, so if you have 40 miles in half an hour would be 30 minutes. Okay, in half an hour she'd travel half the time, 20 miles. And if I halve 30 minutes, I'd get 15 minutes, and half of 20 would be 10 miles. And you might see why I'm doing that, because remember, we wanted to travel a total of 50 miles, and here we already have 40 miles, which would be nice to know how long it would take to do another 10 miles, because that would mean that we would do a journey that she wants to do of 50 miles. So 10 miles takes 15 minutes from this calculation, which means that she can do the journey in 1 hour and 15 minutes, which is less than the time that she has available. So in this case, is she correct? Because she said, if I drive at that speed, I'll be there in time. Yes, she is correct. And in my case, she'll actually have 5 minutes. She'll get there 5 minutes early. Okay, brilliant. Hopefully you found that useful, and keep practicing and get good at maths. Okay, best of luck. Bye.